They say in true darkness, light will shine through, or something of the sort, and quite frankly, I believe this is true in all areas of life. Keeping it specifically to One Piece though, there are countless infractions confirmed by the political organization that rules the world government. To call them corrupt is honestly being kind, as they do have a twisted version of the ends justify the means to carry out various acts of, I suppose in their estimation, keeping the peace. There are many things you can point out to determine what exactly is the problem with the world government, but I believe the main issue is the fact that the people, i.e. the citizens of the various kingdoms of the world, have absolutely no idea who they serve, or rather who they think is serving them. For a better world, essentially there needs to be better people and better leaders, and while we have, a few noble and trustworthy individuals in positions of power, most are not this way due to the history of this world. The foundation is a mystery due to the void century, and this is by design. The kings that are appointed and bred are done so with entitlement, and the direct result is the dispensation of human decency. The people that directly control the world, or should I say the person, have shown to be tyrannical, oppressive, undemocratic, and flat out evil. The imperious nature of this power affects not only the citizens, but the direct opposition, the pirates. Do what I say, not as I do is a saying we have all heard at least once. There's another saying that actions speak louder than words. So essentially in the minds of pirates, if the world government can be this domineering, why can't I be free? Eustace Kid is viewed as despicable, and I get it, mainly because he kills civilians and he's just a terrible human being in general. After seeing the celestial dragons ride into the auction house on humans and proclaim that riding in on fishmen would be better due to them being 10 times stronger, Kid pretty much sums up my perspective. He says compared to the purity of the greedy nobles, the villains of the world look pretty damn humane. They don't even understand that the world is in this state because scum like them control it. Kid does go on to acknowledge the bad things of what he does as a pirate, but essentially their existence was created by the world they inhabit. A great action does have a great reaction. Before delving into the organization that is Sword, because honestly we cannot even begin to dissect the reason for Sword's existence without discussing justice and the pliable nature of this thing called justice. Pliable, easily bent, flexible. What about easily influenced? As daunting the task that the world government has, and I understand the importance of what they do, their meaning of justice is tainted in lies, deception, and aimless justification. Justice reveals itself in numerous ways throughout the story, and the mind-boggling parallels straight up tells you times are not changing, and in fact, they might be worse. The generational hate fuels the powers of the world, such as the revolutionaries and even other Marines. Justice does manifest itself in different ways, and the wide ranges of justice has led to despicable pirates being the voice of reason. Is justice more important than family? What about friendship? At what cost do you follow the faction that you have committed to? Absolute justice. No doubt in One Piece means true power. Does that mean no doubt in your beliefs means true justice? Aokiji saw these things firsthand at some point, and he had to make a decision. Are you going to pick up a sword or defend a shield? Can you live with the guilt of knowing true justice but only following orders? Having an absolute will that no matter what, occupation and the way of life determine evil and good fractures a world. Can you make the right decision in the face of a tough decision? Ultimately, justice is strength in One Piece. But true strength lies in knowing the difference between justice and justification while standing on your morals regardless of affiliation. This is where true justice lies. I suppose a better way of classifying this is just flat out good justice. We have the foundation of the world, and that's built on lost ancient history. We have corrupt leaders who know better but choose to follow the code. We have secret organizations that no matter what, even if it's evil, it must be in the name of justice. Specifically, I'm talking about Cypher Pole here, the underbelly of corruption that is the world government. So how would you describe them? I'm not sure if there's even a word for it, but essentially, Rob Lucci is a physical manifestation of that evil. And keep in mind as well, Cypher Pole Aegis, meaning shield, that's what he represents. To sum up Rob Lucci, we have to go back to a story that was told by Vice Admiral Doberman. The story goes, there was a kingdom where 500 soldiers were captured by pirates. The world government sent one boy to resolve this conflict. The resolution that he came to was to obliterate all of the captured soldiers due to them being too weak and decapitate the captain of the pirates. His personal philosophy on justice was that of Dark Justice. This is Rob Lucci. This is Cypher Pole. This is the world government. Now looking at Sword, a secret agency in the world government with 2 confirmed members from chapter 956, X Drake and Kobe, or Diaz Drake and Kobe. The formation of Sword, in my opinion, will be what saves the world government. And this is simply due to the corrupt nature of what already exists. The sun to the moon that is Cypher Pole, Sword. And I expect another name to be revealed at some point. They will bring forth a new era unlike ever seen before in the Marines. Kobe's philosophy was at one point that all pirates are bad, all Marines are good. Until meeting Luffy and Captain Morgan, a pirate and a Marine. And in a way, Helmeppo. And this changed his entire perspective on the morality which exists in the world. Most pirates are bad, but not all. Most Marines are good, but not all. But this has a trickle-down effect. How can we hold soldiers accountable if the leaders have an immoral view of what justice means? Kobe actually showed that in the face of adversity. He was willing to stand up and face the consequences, even if it meant certain death. He cared about people. It wasn't about justice. It wasn't about power. It was about people. Him being a part of Sword is no mistake. X Drake. He had been an interesting character since his introduction. His backstory is one that is complicated and intertwined with multiple characters that we know of. His father was the person from which the OP no Mi was stolen from by Corazon, and he was on the island with Law as well as the Doflamingo family. He managed to escape the birdcage with the Marines, and with him escaping and Doflamingo thinking that was Law, essentially, in a way, he saved Law. So X Drake had been entangled with the Marines for a long time. He saw firsthand how despicable pirates can be, and he became a Marine and rose all the way to Rear Admiral, and then he defected, or so we thought, to become a pirate. His actions at Sabaody, even while being a pirate, was skeptical, and now you can look at it with a raised eyebrow. He knew of Vegapunk and the Pacifista Project, and exclaimed that he had no idea it had gotten that far, which implies he had previous knowledge of these things, which were secret government projects. He stepped in the way to prevent 2 supernova from fighting, and then Law's interesting question asking him if he had ever killed anyone. It certainly raised eyebrows. Now, this leads us to our baseless speculation section of the video, where we try to figure out some other members of Sword. The most popular is the leader of the Sword faction, which should be Aokiji. The loss to Akainu led him to this route. There had been numerous speculation as to what really happened between Aokiji and Akainu. People felt like Akainu cheated. Aokiji gave up. And that's yet to be revealed, but I personally think that Akainu won, but effectively that was the last straw. It's also not far-fetched that Sword, people are saying, is an old organization, and it was started by Sengoku. This of course was because of Corazon and him being an undercover Marine playing pirate. It lends itself to this. There's also speculation of Law. His comment to Drake at Sabaody, which insinuates he knew something about X Drake all along. Him choosing to go along with Drake's plan seamlessly in Wano. Him saving Luffy and choosing to be with the Straw Hat crew for this amount of time. And not only that, his lackluster crewmates. The Corazon connection is the main reason, but there is a world where this could exist. Smoker, Tashigi, and Hina are also mentioned as possible members due to Hina and Smoker having a great connection and truly being noble pirates. Tashigi, obviously her showings in Alabasta, which proves she has a good heart as a Marine. It really could be anyone's guess, but this faction is what will lead the Marines to the future. Moral justice and simply placing high character individuals in places of power will bring about change in the Marines. The interesting tidbit is the cover story for chapter 592, in which Akainu is shown without a shirt and he has a sword tattoo on his right arm. Is there a world in which Akainu created Sword? Yes. Do I believe he did? No. It's almost as if I refuse to believe Akainu, based on his sense of justice, which is absolute, would spearhead a group of individuals which included Kobe, to whom he owes a magma fist. It almost wouldn't make sense for Akainu's character. As much as some people would like it and view his character as coming full circle, I think it would be a bit premature because we don't know his backstory yet. For Akainu, I think we have to figure out exactly why he was the way he was at Marineford, which was absolute justice, pirates are evil, we have to kill them all. If we get to a point in which Akainu is somehow redeemed before knowing of his backstory, personally, I don't think it would be as impactful. Now, another huge talking point about Sword is about who knows about the faction and who knows it exists. It's a few things you can point out, and it's based on who you think founded Sword. If you think Akainu founded Sword, obviously he would know about it, and some other high-ranking Marines. If Sengoku's the one who founded Sword, you would assume Garp knows about it. Obviously, Aokiji, Smoker, and that faction. Personally, I don't think Akainu knows about Sword. The reason is the process in which they go about reporting information. We know Akainu figured out exactly what was going on in Wano. However, was this because of Kobe reporting to somebody else in Sword? Because I don't think X Drake reports to Akainu. And if he's not reporting directly to the Fleet Admiral and directly reporting to a Rear Admiral, that tells me that the hierarchy system in this organization doesn't involve regular Marines or the regular hierarchy that's involved in the Marine system. So like Kobe, he's a Rear Admiral, but he's just a member of Sword. while X-Drake, he's a pirate, but he's a captain of Sword. I think for the safety of the people in the field, only a few select Marines can know about it. I don't think the Fleet Admiral is actually expected to know. Maybe Akainu has an idea of something going on, but plausible deniability is there for him because he can say, well, I didn't know anything about it. But having something that can counter CP0 is in his best interest because he felt like the Gorosei uses CP0 to undercut him a lot. They did that with the Doflamingo thing. So for him, Sword is not a bad thing, it's just what they represent. He's a viewer of absolute justice, and most of the Sword members, I don't think they go about business that way. So while it's a good organization and in his best interest, I don't think he would approve of the methods. So it's weird, right? It's almost like a catch-22 for Akainu. But I'm sure we'll find out more in time. But in the meantime, leave your thoughts below on Sword. Which other Marines do you think are in Sword, or even other pirates? What do you think the future of this faction is? Be sure to leave a comment below, like the video if you did, subscribe to this channel for more content like this. Follow me on Twitter at BragoDAce. Follow me on Instagram at BragoD.Ace. Shout out to my patrons. I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you for your support, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.